Hey everyone, and welcome to my Newcastle United weekly transfer update. Today I'm actually going to cover some new transfer stories from this week. Then I'm going to talk about some Deadwood that I think we need to shift this transfer window. And I'm going to give some updates on the previous transfer stories that I've covered in recent videos. So do enjoy the video, subscribe for more updates, and let's get started. I'm going to start with the transfer talk that seems the most certain and legit, I guess, and I'm going to work through the rumours after that. So first up, yesterday there was an official announcement that Rolando has a new club and he's signed with Huddersfield Town, and they actually tried to sign him in the summer and it sort of fell through, but this time it followed all the way through. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, I had quite big expectations of him, especially because my initial impressions of him were from the Carabao Cup game against Man City, and that was the year that he signed. I guess that was his debut, so it was 2014, and to score on debut is always going to be something exciting. I do think he's a decent player on his day. He wasn't really given much chance to play with us. I mean, to be fair, injuries did limit his chances with us, and I wish him all the best. Above all, I guess I'm just pleased that his wage bill of £25,000 a week is just one less expense, and I do feel there is more Deadwood we need to shift. I don't feel Newcastle have the funds for permanent deals, and due to the pandemic, this isn't going to be a usual transfer window for English football anyways, so we need as much cash as we can get. We will see. Next up, let's talk about Josh King. Now, Newcastle have been linked with him for a number of days now, and I do actually remember in the summer when there was talk of the Bournemouth signings, like his name did pop up, and obviously we ended up going for Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser, both of which I am very happy with. Now with Josh King, I'll explain the current situation with him and then I'll let you know how I feel about it. So he is almost 29 years old and he'll be out of contract in the summer. His goal scoring record doesn't impress me too much. 6 goals in 35 appearances, 0 this season. We're reportedly offering him up to £15 million, and West Ham are also interested in him, and they definitely need a replacement for Sebastian Haller, who has just signed with Ajax. In my opinion, I mean, is Josh King really worth £15 million? I'm not sure. If he was the best player in the Championship, I probably would be swayed, but the fact of the matter is he isn't even a regular starter for Bournemouth. I mean, given our priority right now, we should be looking for a creative midfielder and a left back, and I'm just not convinced this would be a good investment. What do you guys think? Just let me know below. Let's move on to another transfer target. So Djibril Sidibé. Now, Newcastle have made an inquiry for him. He's currently in France. He's at Monaco. He's 28 years old. He's only had 1 appearance in Ligue 1 this season. He's very experienced. He was part of the France squad that won the 2018 World Cup, and some of you might remember him from last year. He played for Everton. He was on loan with Everton, and his value is between £4 to £6 million. He's a right back. He's keen on first team football, which is what he would get with us. For me, I definitely would like to freshen up the squad. I appreciate his experience, but we already have an ageing squad and I'd prefer we look at younger additions for that. But I do like the fact that Sidibé he can operate as a wing back and a left back, so his versatility could be very valuable, and he does have the ability to cross, so that's a huge plus. I think if DeAndre Yedlin leaves and maybe Emil Kraft as well, could make sense. We'll have to see. Let's move on to Dwight Gayle. So he's 30 years old, he's out of contract at the end of the season. Newcastle are yet to extend his contract and Fulham are reportedly interested in him. Scott Parker even said today that they are in the market for a new forward, and in addition to Fulham, actually West Brom still hold interest in getting Dwight Gayle back. He was their star striker when on loan with them. I'm closely following these updates about Gayle because quite honestly, I don't want him to go anywhere. I am a fan, and I know there's the idea that if we act now, we can get cash for him as opposed to in the summer, but I really don't think he should be part of any of our outgoings. We have trusty Callum Wilson. Yes, Joe Linton can't be relied on as a centre forward, you know, to bring in the goals. He's slightly improved in recent weeks, but we're nowhere close to getting our money's worth from him. Andy Carroll, I mean, I said this in the last video, he scored against Leicester, but I don't expect that to be a regular occurrence. We loaned out Muto in the summer. We didn't sign a backup striker, and I just don't think we should look further afield for that until we strengthen the problem areas like the midfield, for example. So to conclude, Dwight, Gayle shouldn't be going anywhere. God forbid Callum Wilson is injured. We would need Gayle to step up. We'd have no one else. Let's move on to the Deadwood that I think we need to shift. First up, Henri Saivet. He's valued at almost £750,000. Given how much we've suffered financially without the revenue of fans in the St James's Park, I mean, this kind of money could be essential, especially if we need a top class box-to-box creative attacking midfielder. Now, Saivet hasn't played a senior Newcastle United game since May 2019. I think with his deal, sooner is better than later. His contract runs out in the summer and he's top of my list to go, to be honest. Next up, let's talk about Christian Atsu. Now, considering his value, I do really hope we can offload him this transfer window, if I'm honest. He's just another one whose contract is running out in the summer, and he's currently valued at around £3.2 million, and he did actually provide 5 assists across all competitions last season, but currently he doesn't consistently break into the first team. He's only played 10 minutes so far this season, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. In the absence of Alan St Maximin recently, Steve Bruce could have potentially relied on Atsu for playmaking from out wide, but he didn't. You know, he went for other options. Atsu has essentially fallen below Jacob Murphy in the pecking order, really, and I know Celtic were interested in him in the summer, and last January they actually made an approach to Newcastle for him. I have a feeling he'll be on his way. He's clearly not part of Steve Bruce's plans, and I wouldn't blame him if he is tempted by a club like Celtic. So now I think we should talk about Achraf Lazaar, and it's been over 4.5 seasons and he's only had 10 appearances. I think he's been pretty open with his intentions to move on from the club since December. I believe his value is around £300,000, so I just hope we release him once and for all, because being on loan spells over the years and none of them resulting in permanent deals, it's time to just get him off the wage bill and just look ahead. Okay, now let's cover some updates on a couple of Newcastle transfer targets that I've spoken about recently, like Brandon Willems, Fikayo Tomori and Hamza Choudhury. So starting with Brandon Willems, Steve Bruce has expressed that he's interested on getting the young Man United defender on loan, and he could be the answer to our left back needs. A bit of competition for Jamal Lewis. I've spoken about what I think of Brandon in another video, and I'll link that above if you want to watch that. The only update I have today on this is the suggestion really that Phil Jones and Jesse Lingard are also on Steve Bruce's wish list. What do you guys think about that? I'm surprised to read that. Now for Fikayo Tomori, I'm pretty disappointed in this update, if I'm honest. I mean, our scouting department have been monitoring him and they've been exploring how to figure a loan deal to get him on Tyneside, and he has been struggling for regular starts under Lampard. Chelsea are pretty full to the brim with quality and young talent, and the club were happy to loan him out. But today I read that Frank Lampard has formally stated that Tomori will be needed as a backup at Chelsea due to a serious injury to their centre-back Christiansen. So even if Newcastle are ahead of Leeds and all the other clubs that are interested in Tomori, it really means nothing now. In my opinion, it's a really huge blow, but what can you do? Okay, as for Hamza Choudhury, I reported on the rumours regarding that deal last week, and there's a slight development now. So Newcastle are obviously in the market to strengthen our midfield, and right now it's looking like it'll have to be a player on loan. So there's been some talk over Choudhury, and Leicester have reportedly received loan bids from a couple of clubs already. They haven't stated who. Anyways, today Brendan Rodgers, he actually revealed that Leicester will only entertain offers that will lead to Choudhury's permanent departure from the club. Now that changes the scenario entirely, in my opinion. He's a defensive midfielder. He's unlikely to inject the creativity that we desperately need. Not to mention he almost ended Matt Ritchie's career with that horror challenge last summer. I wasn't overly excited at the prospect of getting him in on loan, but now it's actually more of a permanent deal that Leicester are after. I certainly wouldn't be bothered if this goes no further. It's not financially feasible, and he doesn't fill a void, and I doubt he would gel with the squad, you know, given that Matt Ritchie makes up the backbone of the team. I think it was a really terrible foul, and it took Matt Ritchie out for months. I don't know. Okay, before I finish up, just a quick word on Jetro Willems. I feel like I've been talking about Willems for months and months, and I am really frustrated actually, given the lack of updates on him and his willingness really to be back on Tyneside. He said for a while that he has unfinished business in the black and white stripes because of how his loan spell with us was obviously cut short with the ACL injury, which was a year ago. I personally want him back on a permanent deal. I've not seen any updates about his move in days really, but for me it would be a no-brainer, especially if the Brandon Williams deal doesn't happen. You know, Jamal Lewis really needs that competition. He is a young lad, he evidently still needs to develop his game, and the option of Willems could only be a good thing while, you know, Jamal Lewis finds his feet, because aside from his injury last week, I think he's struggled to make an impact with us. He's frequently caught out of position. His poor display against Brentford really concerned me, and I thought, wow, we definitely need left back options. If we're talking about what Willems offers, well, firstly, he knows what the club is all about, and that's always a plus. We are fond of him already, and I feel he had a lot more to offer if it wasn't for the injury and then the pandemic as well. So let's hope for an update on him this week. Maybe the club are just waiting until his contract ends in the summer or something to get him on a free. I'm not really sure. Okay guys, I'm done for now. I think I've covered the key transfer stories, so I'm going to film another update like this next Thursday, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to hear from you. Comment below your thoughts on the players I've talked about. Who do you want to see heading to Newcastle this transfer window? Let me know if you agree with the players that I've suggested need selling up. Let's have a chat in the comment section. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.